In this video, you're going to see what is object-oriented programming. My name is Hafiz, and I'm a technical lead in software engineering with 10 years of experience. Let's see what is this object-oriented programming means. Object-oriented programming, or we can call it as OOPS, object-oriented programming systems. It is actually a programming model or programming paradigm. So there are multiple programming models or paradigms available. One is imperative, another one is logical, and there's another one called functional, and the one that we will be talking today, it's object oriented. So these are some programming models that are there. So this object oriented or object orientation is there to organize software designs based on objects or data rather than functions or procedural. So if you take these objects, it's similar to the real world things, which has unique attributes and certain set of behavior. So this OOP, object-oriented programming, mostly focus on objects rather than the business logic. Yeah, the developers mostly play around with these objects than business logics. OOP is well suited for larger systems that has complex business functionalities and frequent manipulations. So if your application is having frequent modifications where you do changes very often, or if it is having complex logics, complex algorithms, then you can consider using this OOP concepts rather than going for imperative, logical, or functional programming models. There are certain benefits that we will be discussing later. So you can experience certain advantages of OOP when you work on enterprise level applications, large scale applications. And there are so many patterns, frameworks, theories builds upon this object orientation. And we can see there are a lot of plugins and tools, and there are so many other supportive technologies were introduced to make this OOP concepts more robust and more highly efficient. So those are a bit advanced programming. So I'm not going to discuss those frameworks and patterns, those things in this video. These are the building blocks of OOP, object-oriented programming. Basically, we have 4 different blocks, or you can say it's the fundamental things of OOP. So one is called classes. These classes are kind of data types that is a blueprint of objects, attributes, and methods. This is the blueprint of all these things. So it is actually kind of a data type. So if I take a real world example, you can consider human as a class. So human is a blueprint. For the moment, you can keep it like that. So we'll later we see some examples. Next one is objects. So this is an instance of this blueprint or the class. So as I mentioned, if you take human as the class, the object will be a single person. So for example, I'm Hafiz. So Hafiz is an instance or object of this human class. Next, we have the methods. Methods are functions defined in a class. These are functions defined inside this class that describes the behavior of objects. Actually, this is defined inside these classes, and it describes the behavior of these objects or instance. So if you take the example Hafiz object and the human class, so you can take the methods as walking, drinking, eating. So those are functions that a human can do, right? So that's what the methods are. Finally, we have the attributes. This is actually the state of an object. You can find these attributes inside the classes that will hold the state of these objects, right? For example, if you take the example as Hafiz object or the human class, you can see the states as human complexion. Complexion is a attribute, right? Color of hair is an attribute, right? So those attributes are inside, you can find inside the classes, and it defines the state of these objects. So Hafiz, complexion of Hafiz object is what? Fair color. So the color of, if you take the color, hair color attribute of Hafiz object is black. So likewise, you can use these attributes to keep the state of this particular object. These are the 4 building blocks of WP. This is really important because you will be doing much complex programming using these things when you're working in WP programming languages. In WP, we have certain set of four different pillars, or we call it as principles. And the WP is completely built on top of these 4 principles. The first one is encapsulation. So here, encapsulation means it's hiding the important information inside the object and showing only the required ones to the outside world, right? So if you take the same human example, right? In human, you can see this heart, veins, nervous system, brain, all these parts are hidden from the outside world. So those are encapsulated. But this skin, hair, ears, nose, those are exposed to the outside world. So this is what encapsulation means. So it's hiding the things, the important things that that determines the functionality of that particular object, but those information is not required to show to the outside world. Next one is abstraction. You abstract certain things and make additional changes to it. So the abstracted original functionality is hidden from you. So you make certain modifications to the abstracted functionality and to perform certain things. So if you take this Hafiz object that we took before, I might be having abstracted certain genetical memory from my parents, certain genes from my parents, and had some additional changes, additional mutations into that during my birth process, right? So that is what abstraction means. You basically abstract certain functionalities from somewhere and do some changes on top of it. Next one is inheritance. Classes can reuse code from other classes. You can inherit certain methods or attributes from the parent class. So this is what you call inheritance. You inherit certain things from the parent class. The final principle is polymorphism. The concept, the term polymorphism means it's more forms. So if you take object, it can act as different ways. Example, you can use the same function or a method in a program to do different things. So to do that, there are different concepts like method overloading and method overriding. I'm not going to discuss what is method overloading, method overriding in here. So that's those are different concepts that comes under software development. So that is what polymorphism means. These are the main principles that we should remember. That will help you a lot when you're doing software development in WP programming languages. So these are some examples of programming languages that uses the WP concepts or WP programming paradigm. So Python is one of the powerful programming language, and next Java, C++. These 3 actually most powerful programming language that we have in the industry. And there are some other extended WOP, or you can say it's like it uses WOP with along with some other technologies. So there are programming languages like .NET, PHP. These things, they don't directly use WOP, but they use WOP with certain other models. Okay, let's see what are some benefits of having WOP. The first and important one is the reusability. So objects are reusable, and also inheritance and abstraction helps you to reuse the code. You can create an object or instance of class, and you can reuse it anywhere in the program. So that's one of the major benefit that you will have in WOP. So that these the principles like inheritance and abstraction enables this reusability benefit for WOP. The next one is productivity. So due to the reusable code, software engineers, they can build very quality applications, very quality and complex applications very quickly due to reusable code. So next benefit is scalability. So system functionalities can be implemented independently. So therefore it can scale as it necessary without necessarily without impacting the entire software system. So that's another major advantage of WOP, having object orientation. And the fourth advantage is or benefit is the security. So this encapsulation principle and abstraction helps to hide complex codes, as we discussed before. So it will help to hide certain set of information from the outside world, so that you can hide sensitive data or highly essential details that you don't want to show to the outside world. So you can encapsulate or use abstraction methodologies to make it more secured. Therefore, the code maintenance is pretty easy and enables the security. The next benefit is modularity. Objects are self-contained, so everything is there inside the object, all the attributes and behavior. So it's fully contained. So that makes troubleshooting more convenient. The final benefit that I have identified is flexibility. So if you take this polymorphism, which helps a single function to adapt to the different classes. So a single function can work in different environments. So it's flexible to be reused in the other places. So still this final benefit also interrelated with the reusability benefit that we spoke in the first point. Even though there are a lot of positive facts about WOP, object-oriented programming, I have personally experienced certain problems in here. So one problem is sometimes WOP code may become more complicated, and we'll have so many classes, so many functions, so many things to do a simple logic, so to do a simple thing actually. And also it takes so much time to compile. So this is one of the biggest disadvantage that we are having in WOP. Another problem is WOP doesn't focus enough on the particular computation that actually we want to do, right? It focuses on many other areas rather than mainly focusing on the actual logic that we are going to perform. These are the major concepts that there are, but there are some other smaller problems as well. But nowadays engineers have combined this WOP with some other frameworks, patterns, or paradigms to make it more robust and concrete. For example, one popular combination is like the WOP with microservice architecture. So this has been one of the great combination where it's widely being used in the industry today. So we'll I'll try to do a separate video about this microservice architecture. In this video, I hope you received a high-level understanding about object-oriented programming. And so let's meet in another video. Have fun.